He thought he was just fixing a broken car, but in truth, fate was repairing something much greater, a broken family. What started with the twist of a wrench would end with a whisper that changed everything. The evening sun dipped low as Jake walked home from his auto shop. Oil stains still marked his gray shirt. His daughter Sophie was waiting for him, like always. Suddenly, a sound cut through the street. An engine, struggling, failing, over and over. Jake turned. Across the road, a woman stood beside her car, phone in hand, frustration written across her face. In the passenger seat, a little girl watched her nervously. Jake didn't hesitate. He stepped off the sidewalk and crossed the road. What Jake didn't know, this simple act of kindness would change all their lives forever. Sometimes fate hides in the sound of a broken engine. Elena lowered her phone, her voice sharp with frustration. The tow truck, 2 hours away. Her daughter watching from inside the car, worry written all over her small face. Jake approached with an easy calm. "Hi, I'm Jake. I run the auto shop just down the street. Mind if I take a look?" She hesitated just for a moment, then stepped aside. Jake leaned over the engine. One glance. The problem was clear. A loose battery connection. Nothing more. Within minutes, the car came back to life. Elena's shoulders dropped in relief. "How much do I owe you?" she asked. Jake shook his head, wiping his hands on a rag. "Nothing." From one parent to another. And then, a little voice broke the silence. "Children say the things adults are too afraid to." The car engine purred smoothly now. From the passenger seat, the window rolled down. A little girl leaned out, bright eyes, pink ribbons in her hair. "Thank you, Mr. Jake. You're very nice." Jake smiled. "My pleasure. You remind me of my daughter, Sophie. She's about your age." The girl's face lit up. Then, with the bold honesty only children carry, she said, "Maybe you and Sophie can come to dinner with us." Elena froze, her cheeks flushed. Lily, that's not." But when she met Jake's eyes, her voice softened. "Actually, that's not a bad idea." Jake nodded, a quiet warmth in his chest. Saturday night, then? Neither of them knew. That one dinner would feel like the beginning of something bigger. Sometimes a stranger's home can feel more familiar than your own. Saturday evening arrived. Jake and Sophie stepped into Elena's home. The warm smell of food filled the air, roasted chicken, fresh bread, something sweet in the oven. The house felt alive, cozy, like it was waiting for them. At the table, Lily and Sophie connected instantly. Crayons spread across the floor, laughter spilling into the room as they sketched castles, animals, and secret worlds only they understood. Meanwhile, at the dining table, Elena opened up. The long nights balancing court cases and motherhood. The exhaustion. The guilt of never being enough for her daughter. Jake listened quietly, then shared his own struggles. Losing his wife, learning to raise Sophie alone, keeping his business alive when everything felt broken. Their words were different, but their silence carried the same weight. And in that silence, something unspoken was born. And then, Lily gave Jake a gift that carried a secret. The truth of children is simple and unstoppable. Dinner was nearly done. The girls were still on the floor, crayons scattered like confetti. Lily hurried over to Jake with a drawing clutched in her hands. "Look, Mr. Jake. This is you, Mommy, and me. You fixed our car, and now we're all smiling." Jake studied the picture. 3 stick figures standing side by side with a car in the background. His chest tightened. Elena laughed softly from the kitchen. For a moment, her back was turned. That's when Lily leaned in closer, her voice just a whisper. "Mr. Jake, you should marry my mommy. She smiles more when you're here. Sophie could be my sister. We could all be a family." Jake froze. His breath caught. His heart hammered in his chest. He forced a gentle smile, whispering back, "Lily, that's a very big wish. But, thank you." The child only nodded, eyes wide, as if she already knew the truth. That whisper would not leave him, no matter how hard he tried. Sometimes love doesn't arrive loudly. It grows in silence. Weeks turned into months. Dinners became a habit. Picnics in the park. Laughter echoing in both homes. Sophie and Lily, inseparable. Two little girls who no longer felt alone. And in the background, Jake and Elena, sharing quiet coffee after the kids were asleep. Talking about dreams they'd once buried. Trust building slow, steady. Yet Jake still held back. The shadow of his past loss lingered. A part of him afraid to open that door again. Afraid to love, only to lose. Elena never pressed. She simply stayed. And somehow, that was enough. But love has a way of showing up where you least expect it. The place where they first met was waiting for them again. A year had passed. The same street, the same corner, the same car, parked quietly under the fading sun. Jake took Elena's hand, guiding her toward it. He smiled, his voice low. A year ago, I thought I was just fixing a broken engine. But that day, it was my heart that started working again. He dropped to one knee right beside her car. Sophie and Lily stood a few steps away, hands clasped, giggling with excitement. Elena, Jake said, his voice trembling, you and Lily are exactly what Sophie and I were missing. Will you marry me? Elena's eyes filled with tears. Her answer came through a shaky smile. Yes. The girls jumped, clapping, shouting with joy, the sound of pure happiness filling the street. But the real magic was still to come. Sometimes, children see the future long before adults do. The church bells rang softly. Down the aisle walked Sophie and Lily, flower girls side by side, ribbons in their hair, grins too wide to hide. Two little sisters. At last, the vows were spoken, the rings exchanged, and for the first time in years, Jake felt whole. At the reception, as laughter filled the hall, Lily tugged at Jake's sleeve. She handed him a new drawing. 4 stick figures, hand in hand, beneath a giant red heart. Jake stared at it, his throat tight. That whisper, the one she'd spoken months ago, had led them here. Her simple words had built a family. He knelt, pulling both girls into his arms. And in that moment, he finally understood. Engines can be fixed in minutes, but hearts take time, patience, and sometimes the wisdom of a child.